Steven's gone.
That's me eating it on a tube. Sorry, that's me eating it after flying off of a tube. Sorry, it's been a few days since my last video. I was at my buddy's cottage getting sunburnt and bitten by many things. But in that time, you guys have left some pretty good questions on my Facebook page, so I'm gonna answer them. This first one comes from Kate Murphy from Braintree, Massachusetts. Kate asks, what do you think the odds are of a Bruins repeat, and who do you think the Bruins' key player is gonna be next season? I'm gonna start the answer with a question of my own. There's a place called Braintree. The names of some of the places down there are just fun to say. Like Peabody. I like the way you work it. No, Peabody. This is why I don't let him do many videos anymore. So, hockey, Bruins. I'll start by saying, obviously, every hockey fan asks this question every year, and every year it's like, oh yeah, I think they could repeat. Because when you're thinking of potential winners for the next season, you're like, alright, well, who's the best team in hockey now? And generally, a good team to start with is the reigning Stanley Cup champions. This time it's the Boston Bruins. Blackhawks, not the greatest example of this, but I'll actually get to them later. The main guys the Bruins lost were Michael Ryder, Mark Recchi, and Thomas Kaberle. Obviously, the most key of those guys would be Mark Recchi. He was a key player in the playoffs and obviously a good role model in the dressing room. He already had multiple pro seasons under his belt before Tyler Seguin was even born. And some people look at Michael Ryder, I don't know, he was kind of overpaid, didn't play that big of a role on the team. But that random glove save in the first round, if he doesn't make that, the Habs might have been the ones winning. And even Thomas Kaberle, for all the high expectations, all the nights where he gave away the puck and wore the goat horns, they won the cup. Which means for the rest of his life, people can go, you suck, Kaberle. And he can just go, oh, what's that? I'm sorry, I was just cleaning off my cup ring. That's not how he sounds. They can repeat. I'm not going to say they're my favorite to repeat, but they can. A few things need to happen. First and foremost, Tim Thomas has to find a way to do what he did last season, and that's be the best goaltender in the entire league. On a year-to-year basis, especially at his age, that's pretty hard to do. And with some of the vets retiring or leaving town, guys like Brad Marchand and Tyler Seguin are going to have to step it up. And you can't win a cup without paying the price, but guys like Lucic and Horton are going to have to be at 100% health. Who's going to be their key player? Well, you want to say a guy like Zdeno Chara because he's always going to be an all-star, but Tim Thomas was the best goaltender in the NHL last season. He won the Conn Smythe, and he is the reason they won the cup, or at least the biggest reason. Next question comes from Rachel Cox from Noblesville, Indiana. Not as fun of a name to say as Braintree, but it's actually kind of badass. Noblesville. She asks, with the addition of Carcillo, O'Donnell, Brunette, and Montador, do the Hawks have what it takes to go all the way again? Another recent Stanley Cup champion. Obviously ravaged by the salary cap, but you wouldn't know that looking at Montador's contract. That deal is, hope it works out. First and foremost, the Hawks got Carcillo? That's really awkward. Just weird because the whole finals thing and him being who he is. But Carcillo being on the Blackhawks means he can run his mouth all he wants because he's got John Scott. Did you watch Bugs Bunny as a kid? Or now? There's nothing to be ashamed of, right? Remember that episode with the one really big dog and the little dog?
How about beating up a cat? Would you like that, Spike? Huh?
Cat! You know, or is it a cat? I feel like that's Carcillo and John Scott now. I just realized his paper's here and it's really distracting. Like I said about the Canadiens and the Bruins, the Hawks took Vancouver to Game 7 in overtime. A little something here, a little something there, and they could have been in the finals. And I doubt they're going to finish the 8th seed again because Corey Crawford didn't exactly play start to finish last year, and with him as the undisputed starter, Hawks got it. And by it, I mean a really good starting goaltender. And the Hawks did a really good job of holding on to all their key guys when they were having a lot of cap issues. Kane, Taves, Seabrook, Keith, even Patrick Sharp. So I think they're a contender every year. And this could be very dangerous for me to say because I think this division just keeps getting better. The Hawks could win the Central Division this year. And I think 1, 2, 3 in the West, in no particular order, could be the Kings, Canucks, and Hawks. Last question. It's a big one. I've been getting asked it a lot. Can't ignore it anymore. It comes from Chuck Douglas McLaren from Halifax. And if you're a little sick of the question too, just trust me, hear out the answer. Do you feel even a little worried that Burke hasn't re-signed Luke Schenn yet? And do you worry that a team could snatch him away from the Leafs? I have a boring answer and another answer. The short answer is Burke has already told people that he's not worried about re-signing Luke Schenn. And I don't think Burke would bring Schenn with him to Afghanistan if he doesn't think he's going to be back with the team. Actually, there is this little ongoing thing I call the Toronto Zoo curse. Every year, I think one player goes to the Toronto Zoo and signs autographs. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure every player who has gone there was gone in less than a year. Darcy Tucker, Nick Antropov, Alex Ponikarovsky. This year, it was Luke Schenn. However, you shouldn't really read into the curse because pretty much everyone's gone from back then. But look, I think Schenn is such a key player to the Leafs. Last year, he might have been the best defenseman, certainly the most consistent, but here's something else. As bad as it would be to see Luke Schenn go, do you have any idea how entertaining it would be to see an RFA stolen from Burke again, except this time he is the president and general manager of the biggest, most powerful financial hockey team in the world? I'm pretty sure the aftermath would look something like the breakfast scene from Pulp Fiction. Other GMs just sitting there scared. Look, I just want to say how sorry I am that things got so screwed up. Burke gets out his pen, signs like 3 of their RFAs. Other GMs just like, oh, I'm sorry, did I break your concentration? Please, continue. You were saying something about best intentions playing under the rules of the CBA. Oh, you were finished? Well, allow me to retort. And we all know how that scene ends. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger. Spoiler alert, the other guy doesn't do so well. I don't think it's a good idea to sign any restricted free agent away from any GM, especially Brian Burke. So that's it for this one. Subscribe on YouTube, add me on Facebook, including my page, follow me on Twitter, I'm on Tumblr, I'm also on Google+, I'm on everything. And if you want to ask a question of your own, you know where to post it, Steve Dangle, all one word on Facebook. And if you end up YouTubing that scene I was just doing, is not safe for work.